Hey Hogs, I just want to do a quick review of our double teams. We have three types of double teams. We have our push double team, a base double team, and a scoop double team. Okay. Um, First one, the push double team. It is where we have leverage on the defender. We're trying to keep leverage, and this lineman has not defined what gap he wants to be into, or we want to define him in the gap we want him to be in. Okay, so we have a head up defender here. This guy's uncovered. This tackle, let's say we're running power to the right here. Okay, so the ball is going that direction. Okay, so we have leverage. We're blocking our backside gap. We have leverage on this defender to where the ball is going. So we want to keep that leverage. We want to put this defender, oh, excuse me, in the gap away from where the ball is being ran as we work to our linebacker. So ideally, in this double team, the way we have it set up is that we're going to dip block and we are going to push the hip to throw this guy over into the guard's gap. And then the um, tackle can then work up on the linebacker. That's ideally how we want to run. Okay. Now, obviously, on post snap, uh, movements can happen. Okay. This tackle can slant into the guard's gap. And if that happens, he's pretty much doing the push block for us. Okay. This guard then, instead of a dip block, turns into a drive block. And now he is driving the guy away from where the play is being ran in his gap. Okay. And then the tackle would just work up on the linebacker like he normally would. Okay. But if um one sec. If this tackle slants into the double team, okay, now it's a little bit harder for us to define him, but we're still working to do that with our eyes on the linebacker. Okay. If the linebacker decides to go into the guard's gap, the guard has to come off and block him, and the tackle will just turn and drive block this tackle right here. If the linebacker wants to go into the guard's gap, this offensive tackle would then just drive block the down lineman because he knows he doesn't have a linebacker he has to work up to anymore because he has triggered into the guard's gap. Okay. Now, what we're assuming he will do because of where the play is going, we assume that this linebacker is going to flow over the top. If he does do that, then the tackle will come off and block him. Okay. That's why it's a combination block. These linebackers, the defenders won't always do what we want them to do. So we need to have answers. So that's why we do combination blocks. Okay. So these two have their eyes on him. And if whatever way he triggers, that's the guy that's coming off to block him. Okay. Now, let's just say for whatever reason, they got some sort of crazy stunt going on where this linebacker goes there. Okay. Now, if your linebacker triggers way away, then you're just going to continue blocking this, double teaming this guy until something threatens your gap. Most likely it's going to be this guard who's got to have his eyes in his gap. As soon as movement occurs from the down lineman right here, let's say if this down lineman wants to slant like he's doing here, he wants to try to slant into this gap, okay? This guard has to, since his gap is open, has to snap his eyes into his gap because he's looking for penetrators or pinchers. He's looking for a defensive lineman who might be trying to stunt into his gap. If that happens, then he needs to come off and block that guy because we still need to be gap accountable. So if that happens, the double team is now off and we're just blocking our gap. Okay. He also needs to be looking for a linebacker that might trigger into his gap. If that happens, he comes off and blocks his gap, and the double team is now off. So whenever there's movement, okay, whoever's gap is open needs to have their eyes in their gap. Okay, and that's for every single double team that we have. That's a fundamental rule that we have. Okay. Now that is our push double team. We have leverage on the defender, and we're trying to keep that leverage and define the defenders away from where the ball is being ran. Okay. Now, let's say we're running sweep to the right now, and we're on the play side here. Now we're going to talk about our base double team, okay? So here on our base double team, still same thing, gap on double team. That's what we're doing, gap on, and then double team with the guy play side if we have no one there. So this guard has a guy on him, so he's going to base this guy or dip block this guy, but get his head to the play side number because he knows he's doubling with this center. So it'd be base to this linebacker right here, okay? Let's just say that this is the linebacker they're working to in this play, okay? So what we're trying to do is he's attacking the play side number, the guard is coming and attacking the backside number, and what we're hoping will happen is that the guard will be able to come off and then the center will overtake this guy. But now the defenders are not always going to go where we want them to go. Okay. So we got to have answers as to what we're supposed to do when they don't do what we want them to do. Okay. Now let's say if we're doing this and the tackle goes out. Okay. Oh my goodness. I hate this software. The tackle goes out. Now the guard will just base that tackle because he's in his gap, and the center, okay, the center will now rewind to help backside as he's working up to his linebacker. Okay, his gap is completely open. So instead of just vacating right away, he's going to rewind because most likely another defensive lineman, my goodness, another defensive lineman is slanting from the backside. So this center is going to rewind to help as he works up to his linebacker, okay? Until something threatens his gap, right? Now, if this tackle slants into the double team, okay, we will keep the double team. This guard right here, he sees movement, goes away, his gap opens up. He's immediately going to shoot his eyes outside, looking for any sort of pincher or any sort of penetrator, okay? That's what he's looking for. If something threatens his gap, immediately he will come off and block it, and then the double team is off, okay? But if there is no movement that comes to his gap, then they're just going to work up to their linebacker like they normally would, okay? Where they combo him wherever he goes, okay? So this is where you don't have leverage on the defender, okay? And you're trying to gain leverage, but you're trying to cover the guy up and drive him vertically because you are where the running back is looking, okay? The running back is looking to run the ball, okay, here or there, okay? He's looking to try to run this ball in this area depending on what the defense does on their movement, okay? So on a base block or a base double, we're just trying to reach guys and then block them vertical, okay? And cover them up. Just block them square so our running back can make us right, okay? Now, let's say we're running sweep and we're on the back side. Okay, now let's say we're running sweep this way. Okay, my goodness gracious alive. We're running sweep that way, and we're on the back side here, okay? Now we're doing a scoop double team. Okay, here, this guard is covered, so he's going to chip that guy because he knows he has help from this backside tackle who is trying to scoop this tackle, trying to get his head to the play side armpit. Okay, and they are working up to this linebacker here. Okay. Now, ideally, this tackle scoops, this guy chips, and then this guard could come off and chase after his linebacker. Now, the defense isn't always going to do what we want them to do. Okay. This linebacker flows backside, then the tackle needs to come off, and the guard would then block this defensive lineman. They would just switch responsibilities. Okay. If this defensive end slants into the guard's gap, the guard would then scoop him, and then the tackle would then run up to the linebacker. Okay. If this guy slants into the double team, it would be easier for the tackle to take over that guy, and their eyes would be on the linebacker. That linebacker flows, and the guard would come off and block him. Okay. So those are our three double teams. We have a push double team where we have leverage and we're keeping our leverage and we're trying to define the guy away from where the ball is being ran. On our base double team and our scoop double team, they are virtually the same. It's just the uncovered guy is either basing or scooping. Okay. And they're all combination blocks, which means 4 hands on the down lineman, 4 eyes on the linebacker, and wherever the linebacker goes, wherever he triggers, that's the lineman that's coming off to block him. Okay. So I just wanted to do a quick review of our 3 double teams.